Hey y'all, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to show y'all how to make your own polymer clay cabochons out of whatever kind of polymer clay you have laying around, as well as rubber stamps and Pearl-Ex pigments. So let's get started. So here I have some polymer clay that's put through my pasta machine on the thickest setting. I got this color blend just by mixing together a bunch of different scrap clays and things. So what I'm going to be doing with this clay that I have here, it's just put through the thickest setting on my pasta machine. I'm squirting just a little bit of water to keep it repelled from my work surface, and a bit of water spread around to keep my stamp from sticking to it. You can use any kind of stamp that you would like the ones with the wooden backs work great. I prefer this kind because I can flip it over and see exactly where I'm placing it. I'm just going to come a little bit off to the side, and I'm coming from above it and using my full body weight to smoosh down like this, and then go ahead and pull it off. And there you can see it started to make, and this actually made a pretty light imprint. So what I'm going to do then is I'll just come right back around, and I'm going to place it and just smush the heck out of it. I mean, really pushing down. Pull it off. There we go. That's a really nice deep imprint. So you can see that's very usable. And you can, use your own personal taste to decide, how deep you want to do it or how shallow, and experiment and see what you prefer. If you don't like how any of it came out, just dab the water off with like a paper towel, put it through your pasta machine, and try again. Now I'm coming back through, just dabbing off the extra water with some paper towel, and I'm actually going to use a tissue blade to just slice right on through. And here I'm just doing it like a cabochon at a time, but you could use, you could texture a whole sheet and then layer them together. But I like to layer two thicknesses of number one on the pasta machine. And then I'm just going to use, this is like a little scrap baggie that I got some beads in, but it's not quite big enough for me to use for most other things. And instead of hoarding it, I'm going to use it. I find it's much more durable than saran wrap, but I'm going to lay this down over where I think I'd like to cut my bead from, and I'm just using a little oval cookie cutter. You could use whatever shape you like, and I'm just positioning, and then I use a little lid here. You don't have to use a lid, but I find it saves my fingers from the hard edge, and I'm just going to push down nice and firm, and then pull that off, and you can see here how that helped shape our cabochon. And I can actually come back in over it, cut through the rest of the way if we need a cleaner cut. And I'm just going to pull this off, and then gently lift it, and we can come through and try to shape it or shave down this edge. Doesn't always come out quite so messy. Just shaving that down and around. I save all my scrap clay for making cabochons like this. And I cut in a little bit too deep there, but I think that'll be alright because we can just blend it down with your finger. It's a quite chilly day, so my hands are real cold, my work surface is real cold, so the clay is staying nice and firm. So I'm even, holding on to it as firmly as I am. I'm not distorting my pattern at all. Winter's probably my favorite time of year to work with polymer clay. Keeps my hands moving so my knuckles don't lock up. Okay, so there we are. And you can see there's even a subtle secondary pattern from where I did the first stamping. So you can get some really cool effects that way. And this is another, you can make this be however simple or however complex as you would like it to be. You could bake it like this. This was a Sculpey blend, so I bake it at about 270, 275 for about 30 minutes, and it'll be nice and hard. So you could bake it and then do a wash over it with acrylic paint, and then maybe sand down the surface. If I remember to, there should be a link popping up to where I show you how to sand your own cabochons. You could use those same techniques to do the paint, wipe it off, let it dry, and then sand it. Or you could do like how we're going to do here. And I think I'm going to use a nice little, this is some Pearl-Ex in Super Bronze. I'm just going to take the lid off and use my finger. You can also use eyeshadows, work pretty well for this. But I'm just going to blend through, just using the edge of the meaty part of my finger. Or the pad of my finger, I guess. And I'm just kind of petting this on there. These Pearl-Ex pigments give such a great metallic like shine. Like, look at that, that's so cool. Like, I love that. And a little goes a long way with this stuff, so I try to not just glob it on too thick, but just gonna keep rubbing and buffing it in. I like to do it with powders and stuff like this before baking because I feel like it binds to the clay a little better, but they do have some products like Rub and Buff that you can do after baking that would have a very similar effect. And if you see any spots that you're like, you know, I need a little bit more right there, just use your artistic discretion to do whatever feels good, you know. Now also, you could leave it just like this, or an option is you can glob it on super duper even thicker. Which is always an option to be like, what's a little more, you know, let's experiment. So we could leave it like this, but you can see how some settled down into some of these crevices and things. So what I'm actually going to do is, this is an angled makeup brush. I'm going to get down in there and I'm going to put some of this powder into these cracks. And any powder that gets left on my table and stuff, I just blend right into the base clay. It's interesting to see how scrap clay batches can really evolve throughout a day's worth of projects. And so now this one no longer has any of that green shining through. Come through and clean up this spilt clay, or not clay, Pearl-Ex pigment. And I can take this same paper towel, use a bit of rubbing alcohol. I'd prefer something higher than 70%, but it's just what I have on hand. Get a dab of it onto your paper towel, and then we can actually come through and start to kind of rub and buff and remove it off of the surface of the clay. So if we want more of that cabochon color to show through, but make it look like it has little metal, you know, filigree components like tracing through it, like marbling or something, that's definitely something we can do. Is just kind of treat it up like this. So there's that. And so you can see now that little bit of contrast that it gives. And you could sand this a little further still, or use the clean side of your paper towel and just wipe off that excess until you're perfectly pleased with it. So there we go. So now I would just take this and set it onto my tray. And typically I work and fill up a whole tray, and then I'll pop it into my toaster oven. It's just a regular toaster oven from the, I got mine on Amazon, but you get it like Walmart or wherever, and bake it for, like I said, with Sculpey. I do it at 270. I believe it says you can do it at 275. Let me double check the packaging. Where does it say? Sorry, that's my thinking song. Yeah, 275 degrees Fahrenheit or 130 Celsius for 30 minutes per quarter inch. So I would do these for at least 30, if not also 45. It doesn't hurt to overbake it, so that's why I usually do mine at 270 for 45 minutes. Just because I really like them to be baked. So yeah, and that's how we go about doing it. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me for this tutorial. I do hope that it was helpful to you. And please keep in mind, this is just one of infinite ways that you could do these cabochons. I mean, the amount of different stamps that you can use, the different clay color bases that you could use. Like, can you imagine if I did not blend my clay out as evenly and it had like cool marbling and stuff in it? You could incorporate some glow in the dark clay or some translucent and get really cool effects that would show. Oh, thank God that didn't drop on the floor. I hate picking dog hair out of polymer clay. So I'll hold it a little bit more level. But the marbling and stuff would have shown through on the techniques like this. You could use some really cool holographic, like maybe foils. I don't know. I mean, experiment. Take this basic technique, and if you have an idea, like, well, what if I did this? Try it. You know, if it doesn't work, smush it together. You've got more scrap clay. So thanks again, though, for hanging out with me. If you enjoy my free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, as well as participate in my fairy house giveaways and monthly craft crates and all the different things that we do here at Back to Earth Creations, please consider checking me out on Patreon. Links are down below, and pledges start at just $1 a month. We also do digital downloadable content now too, so that's pretty fun. Also, if you just want to keep tabs on us, you can follow us on Patreon without actually pledging anything, because I do post stuff on there that's available to everyone, but that I don't post anywhere else, so it's still Patreon exclusive. We do posts almost daily on Instagram and Facebook as well. Again, links are down below, and the links for all the different tools and materials used both in the video and off screen, like my pasta machine, will be down in the video description as well. So thank you guys so much, and happy crafting. I'll see you around. Bye!